Hello and welcome to this Price a Job tutorial. In this video, we're going to take a look at the scheduling module. Price a Job makes it easy to estimate a project no matter how complex. However, when it comes to coordinating the scheduling of all these various jobs, it's easy to see how stressful an experience that could be. But Price a Job takes care of you with that as well. Here in the top navigation bar, simply click on the Scheduling tab. Now, if you see a circled D above the Scheduling tab, this indicates that you have access to the demo package, and though you can still use the feature, any exports of the schedule that you create will be watermarked with a demo label. To remove this, simply click the Upgrade button to upgrade to a paid package of Price a Job. Or, if you already have one, just log in. If this is the first time you've clicked on the Scheduling tab, you'll see the Import window, offering you options to either import from the current estimate or create a new blank schedule. In this case, you'll import from your current estimate, and then create the schedule. And here you'll see all the modules from your current estimate, along with their hourly labor requirement graphically placed on this handy chart. Here in the top bar, you'll see a variety of tools starting with Import. Here you can select any modules that have not already been imported into the schedule. So for example, if we were to remove one of these modules, and then click on the Import button, we would see that all of the modules of our current estimate have already been imported into the schedule, with the exception of Windows. So for that, we would simply select Windows and then Import. And Price a Job will import that module into our schedule. Next, we'll take a look at the Templates tool. And here, there are a variety of configurations that we can configure our schedule in. We can either choose Main, which is the default setting when our various modules are imported into the schedule, or we can also choose Cascade, which will take each of our various tasks and link them one after the other sequentially until the entire job is complete. Or you can also create your own template. In this case, we have a template that we've already created called Extension. We can select that just to see how it's configured. Or we can create a new template. So we'll select the Templates tool and then save New Template. We can give our new template a name, and just for example, we might call this Loft Conversion. And save. And the template has been created. And now Price a Job gives us a working window where we can edit the template. So here we can adjust our various tasks as necessary, and use the link buttons here to link one task to the next. So here we'll grab the end link and attach it to the start link of the next task. Here we can grab an end link and attach it to the start of the next task. And perhaps a couple of these tasks could be performed simultaneously. So we can grab the start link here and link it to the start link of the next task as well. So these jobs are done concurrently. When you're done adjusting your template, simply close the window. And now we can go back to the Templates tool and select your new template. And select Yes to confirm. And you'll see here the changes that you made in your new template. For this example, let's just take a look at a Cascade template. And in this case, each task is cascaded sequentially one after the next. And between each of these tasks, you'll see a small black line between the finishing link and the starting link for each task. To conceal these links, you can show or hide the links here in the toolbar. Next, we have the option of displaying our table either in days, weeks, or months, or years. So you can use the scheduling to plan for any size of job. Let's revert back to days. And we can also specify the number of working hours in a day. So by default, a standard working day is 8 hours. However, we can increase that to 14 hours per day, and the total duration of the job becomes much shorter. Let's leave this set at the default of 8 for now. And we'll also notice that on this schedule, certain days are marked off in green. These days are your days off. And you can adjust these days off here in the drop-down menu. By default, Saturday and Sunday are considered days off, and no work is planned for those days. However, if you remove these days off, then those become working days, and again the total length of the job becomes much shorter. You can change these days to whatever day of the week is most appropriate for your scenario. In this case, we'll stick with Saturday and Sunday. Then we can observe the schedule range. If you don't see the schedule range and these other icons here, it may be because you're working on a smaller screen, in which case these will be represented by 3 small dots to show more options. Simply click on the 3 small dots to open a drop-down menu with these various options shown here. We can set the start date either by selecting a date on the calendar or by scrolling ahead various months and selecting a date in the future. We can also select the schedule range, and this shows us the start date that we've selected and the anticipated finish date. And this has been automatically calculated at 80.93 days. Now, if we know that we'll require extra time to fill this in, we can simply select that field and override that. And Price a Job will automatically update our schedule by extending each of the various tasks proportionately to fill that full 90-day span. And we can see that reflected here in the range that our new finish date has now been updated as well. Additionally, we have a colors tool that we can use to modify the color of our folders, or any of the individual tasks as well. So for example, legal fees is right now represented by purple. We can go ahead and change that to a deep green if we prefer. And for preparation, that's currently set at a light mauve. We can set that for yellow. And drainage is currently set for a light blue. We can set that for a dark red instead. And this will help us to quickly distinguish the various tasks on our schedule. However, it's likely that you've probably noticed a glaring problem with our schedule. It's completely out of order. According to this schedule, the very first step that we'll be performing is laying the steel beams. So to fix this, click on the handle for each task and drag it to its appropriate position. So legal fees would be the first step. Then next we would deal with the foundation, and then we would correct the scaffolding that went in the wrong spot. So we'll just drag that beneath the foundation, and then our external walls, and our internal walls, and then columns, and steel beams, and outbuildings we can save for last. Same with driveways, same with pathways. Drain runs can be next, and then windows, and roof structure. And then our finishes for walls, floors, and ceilings. And we'll move our concrete further up. And first fix electrics. Let's just go ahead and remove this task for now. We'll add this back momentarily. There. Now our tasks are set in some semblance of order. However, our schedule chart is a complete mess. So to fix that, we'll go back to templates again and choose Cascade. And Price a Job automatically reorders all the various tasks and links them in a sequential cascade order. Now each of these task groups that we see listed here is actually a folder. Within the legal fees folder, we have various tasks including concrete pier design, raft foundation design, strip footage design, architect fee, and building control fee. And by expanding this folder, we can see each of the tasks listed beneath. For trench foundation, we have another variety of tasks to be performed. And within these tasks, again, you can grab the drag handles here to reorder these tasks in any order that you wish. And if you find that some of the tasks are difficult to view on the chart, you can simply grab the end bar here for the main task and extend that. And all the tasks will be stretched out proportionately as well. Let's just shorten that back to its normal size. And within each of these various tasks, we can see here within the chart the number of workers assigned to each task. So for example, loading the soil by machine for one worker will take approximately 1 3/4 days. However, if we assign 2 workers to the task, the time required will reduce appropriately, and this is reflected here in the schedule as well. So we'll set that back to 1 worker, and we can see that the task doubles in length. There's also a field here for progress complete. So as your various tasks are being completed, you can go ahead and mark this task, say as 50% completed. And automatically the folder for concrete floors is updated to show that it is now 5% complete. And here within the schedule, we can see that loading soil task is now 50% complete. And again, we can stretch this task out to have a better view. And we can see that the main folder task of the concrete floors is 5% complete, and the loading the soil is 50% complete. And again, we'll just reduce this down to its regular size. These task times are shown in days. However, if you prefer more precision, you can select this drop-down arrow here under the header and select either hours to show that loading the soil will take 11.3 hours, or you can set it to weeks, and this will show that it will take approximately 0.28 weeks to load the soil by machine. So let's set this back to hours so we can keep a close eye on the time required for each task. And any time that we feel that the time required needs to be changed, we can simply override that value here. And it's automatically adjusted here within the schedule. In this case, we'll just leave it set at 11.5 hours. We can also change the header columns here by selecting this filter icon. We have options to show or hide the workers column, the term column, which in this case is in hours, but could be in days or weeks as well. We can also show or hide a date range for each task. We can show or hide the progress column, and we can show or hide the colors column. And with this, we can go into each task separately and choose individual colors for each task. So here we can set each of our tasks for a different color, so they stand out as more distinct against the others within that same folder. Also within this table, we have an edit icon here. By clicking this little pencil, we can make any edits that we prefer. So rather than loading soil by machine, we might specify by excavator. To collapse these folders, simply click on the folder title again, and that will collapse all the tasks, and that keeps your display a bit more tidy and organized. Now if you need to add any new tasks, you can do that by selecting Add New Work Group here in the bottom left corner. And this will add a new blank folder, currently called folder number 1. So let's go ahead and select that, and we'll retitle this Fix First Electrics, and this will replace the folder that we previously deleted. Now if we click on this, we can see that it only has one generic task listed. To add more tasks, we can select the 3 dots here to show more options, and add a new task. And this will add another new task to the same folder. To change the titles of these tasks, we'll click the pencil icon, and let's change this first task to supply. And the second task will change to wiring. And for the hours anticipated, we can set the supply to 10 hours, and for the wiring, we'll set that to 40. And then we can drag the reordering handle here to move this into the schedule where it belongs. And we'll put that right before finishes. And then we can select the folder here to close that folder. And then go to Templates and select Cascade. So it will be incorporated directly within our sequential schedule. Another way of relinking these, let's go ahead and change the position of this one, is rather than assigning a new template, what we can do is click on the connecting link, and this opens a context menu that allows you to either edit the link or remove the link. So let's just remove this link, and that moves this task right back to the beginning of the schedule along with the following tasks. Now what we'll do is we'll click on this link and remove that, and click on this link and remove that. And now we can click on the link icons for this and drag it down to meet the start link of our next task. And do that for this one here as well. Click on the end link of this one and connect it to the start link of this one. And click on the end link of this one and connect it to the start link of this one. Now we've manually restored this to a sequential order without actually using the Cascade template. Now it may not be necessary for each of these tasks to run sequentially. For example, several of the finishes could probably be conducted concurrently. So to change that, what we can do is click on this link here that connects wall finishes to floor finishes. And rather than removing this link and then relinking it, let's choose to edit this link instead. And this will open the link settings window. And rather than removing it, let's adjust the link type and change this from a finish start to a start start. And click OK. And now these two tasks will be performed concurrently. And I see that I've accidentally clicked on the wrong module here and set the roof structure and the wall finishes to be performed concurrently. So we'll just click on this link again and edit the link and change the link type from a start to a finish start and click OK. And now the roof structure will be completed before the wall finishes begins. And now here for the wall finishes, we'll click on this link and edit that link and change that to a start and OK. And then we can do the same thing here for this link that connects the floor finishes to the ceiling finishes and edit that link and change that to a start and click OK. And now our wall, floor, and ceiling finishes are all set to be performed concurrently. Depending on what this next task is, we may prefer to reassign this to start after the longest of these tasks is complete. In this case, I don't think it really matters because these are internal finishes and this is an outbuilding. But just for argument's sake, let's click on this link and remove it. And that moves our outbuildings back to the beginning of our schedule. So let's just grab this, and by moving this first task here, all of the tasks linked to it automatically will move with it as well. So once we get that into view, we can simply click on the link button here for the end of this longer task and connect it to the beginning of this next task. There. So now when the longest of the internal finishes is complete, then commencement of the outbuildings will begin. Now, for each of these various tasks, we have a variety of options. We can edit this task by selecting the three dots and selecting Edit. Or to open this window with a shortcut, we can just double-click on the folder. Here we can give our folder a new title. We can change the color. And so let's change this one to a darker orange. And there's also a time offset in hours, which we can use to advance or delay this task relevant to its start date. So for example, -24 would have this task starting a day early, whereas by adding +24, it would delay the task by 1 day. We'll just leave this set at 0 for now. We can also adjust the start date and the finish date. And the link scheme, either none, cascade, parallel, or custom. And if we need to, we can simply remove this folder completely. We'll just cancel for now to stay with the current settings. Also within extra options, you can add a new task. So for example, let's just expand wall finishes and we'll add a new task to this folder. And here we have our new task. If that was an error and we don't need it, we can simply select the three dots for additional options and remove that task. And if we have many tasks lined up and some of them have scrolled off screen, we can choose the More Options button here to show this task within the schedule. And automatically our schedule will scroll over to snap to that task so we can see it on our display. And that is the Show button here to make that task visible. So using the Add Work Group button, we can add as many folders as we need, and to each of these folders, we can add as many tasks as we need. And if we've created a folder or a task that we no longer require, we can simply select the additional options and remove that task. Or for a folder, we can select the additional options and remove the entire folder. And if we want to move a task ahead in the schedule, we can simply select the bar that represents that task and slide it along the schedule to the point where we want it to start. So for example, let's start this one on the 1st of the following month. And you'll notice that all of the linked projects that follow it slide forward as well. You can think of this as a parent task and each of these as the various child tasks. So for this task, this would be the parent, and all the following sequential tasks would be children. However, if we were to select this bar here and move it forward, say to the beginning of next week, only the following tasks in the sequence would be adjusted. The tasks before it would not be affected. So let's just move that back into its place, and we'll see all of its child tasks follow it in sequence. Something to note when you're moving these tasks about is how they behave on your scheduled days off. So for example, we've set this to begin on the 1st of the month, which is actually a Friday, and the task therefore spans 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. However, if we were to move this to the following Monday and start it on a working day, the task collapses and will only take 4 calendar days. The reason being is that the task is not interrupted by any days off. So here, if we were to start this on a Sunday, the rest would automatically jump forward to the following Monday. And if we started on a Friday, it will extend the task to accommodate for those days off. If you need to adjust your days off, that's located here in the toolbar. If you prefer to manually adjust the duration of each task, you can simply grab the start or the finish bars here and extend that as necessary, or shorten it if you prefer. We'll just leave it set to its original settings. If you have one of these folders expanded, let's find one with several tasks within it, you can link each of these tasks to each other by clicking the Finish link and connecting it to the next Start link so that these links within the tasks become sequential as well. However, for these tasks, you can only link them to other tasks within this same folder. You cannot take a link from a task within one folder and link it to a different folder. These links can only be created between tasks of the same folder. So let's go ahead and change this one from a Finish Start to a Start Start. And these tasks can run concurrently. And this one also will change from a Finish Start to a Start Start. And you'll notice that we also have some options here for a Finish Finish, which means that they would both finish at the same time, or a Start Finish, which means that this one will only start after the next one is finished. And we can see how that looks here. But for now, we'll just connect these in a concurrent order. So I'll edit that and change this to a Start Start. Okay. And one more, we'll change this link here from a Finish Start to a Start Start. Okay. So now all of our tasks within the External Walls folder are set to run concurrently. So now that our schedule is all laid out, let's change the viewing style from a daily schedule to a weekly one, so we have an easier overview. Once we're happy with all of our settings, we can either export the schedule to a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. For PDF, we can select here. We can select a tree view, and by selecting this folder icon here, we can expand all of our folders to show all of the various tasks within our schedule. Or if that's too bulky, we can just go back to View and collapse our folders by selecting that folder icon again, and that collapses all of our tasks to show just the folders. We can also reassign the color codes for each of these folders or change the display template. Currently, we have selected Cascade, but we can change that to Main or Loft Conversion or Extension. These are a couple of the custom templates that we created earlier. We'll just leave ours set to Cascade. We also have options here to show or hide the header, and this would be the job site address, start date, and end date. So perhaps we'll just hide that for now. For the labor terms here under the table, we can select the drop-down to change this to show hourly time requirements, days required, or weeks. We'll leave this set to hours for more precision. And if we want to hide these links that are displaying here, we can just close this window for now. Hide the links here by clicking the toolbar and then re-export this as a PDF. And all of our links have been concealed now. When you're ready, you can download this as a PDF file, and it will be automatically downloaded to your Downloads folder. And if you'd like to add any other modules to this, we can just go to the project estimate here by clicking Estimate in the top navigation bar, and then adding our new module. For example, here we might add a landscaping module. Let's add some decking, some wooden decking. We'll create that, and this is added to our estimate. So now when we go to scheduling, We can see our existing schedule, but the decking module hasn't been added yet, and the reason is because we have not imported it yet. So we'll go to the import button here in the top toolbar, and we can see here's the missing decking module. So we'll select that module and import that to the schedule. And Price a Job will import that. And here's the new decking module that we've just imported. So we'll select the drag handles on this one and drag it to the end. And we'll do this after we've done the rest of our work. And then select templates and choose the cascade template so that all the jobs are laid out in sequence. And if any of our other modules have been moved out of order, we can fix those as well. And then we can show the links and adjust the links as necessary. And that's how you use the scheduling module. Thank you for using Price a Job.